Welcome to the Women in Digital Dentistry podcast, where we empower through innovation. I'm Allison Lacoussiere, your host, and each week we'll explore the mindset and the skill set of creating a successful practice and life for women in business. From the latest in dental technology to mastering marketing strategies, creating team synergy, cultivating a powerful money mindset, this podcast is your resource to empower yourself and your team to have the most success possible. Whether you're an established business professional or just beginning your journey, we're here to help you unlock your full potential, lead with confidence, and have an incredible journey along the way. Welcome to the Women in Digital Dentistry podcast. Welcome to another episode of Women in Digital Dentistry, and I am here with an incredible guest, the president of Curve Dental, Jana Macon. Please have a warm welcome to Women in Digital Dentistry.
Thank you, Allison. It's terrific to be here. And sadly, it's a Southern name, so Jana Macon, like Macon, Georgia. Not as fancy as Macon.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on here today. And I want to dive right into introducing you because this has been truly a long-awaited interview, getting to know you, getting to meet you, just from everyone on the Curve Dental team that has talked so highly of you in preparation for this interview. So Jana is the president of Curve Dental, where she's helping dental practices embrace technology to run smarter, deliver better patient care, and stay competitive in a fast-changing industry. With over 25 years in dental and healthcare tech, she's a visionary leader who knows how to turn challenges like staffing shortages and rising costs into opportunities. Today, she's here to share her journey, the lessons she's learned, and practical advice for women navigating the world of digital dentistry. So again, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to dive right in to just sharing your journey as being the president of such an impressive software company. Can you just share your journey into the tech industry and what led you to this current position?
Yeah, so I'll try to do, 30 years in 2 minutes. So when I entered college, I was very, very strong in science, not so much in math, but I just thought computer science. Now you have to know this is a day when not everyone had a computer in their house. So these were early days, right? Early 90s. So I thought that'd be kind of smart. So really, I kind of made a strategic decision that turned out to be extremely hard, but I did make it through and I started my first job in software. Funny story, I didn't even know what a software company was. We were working on mainframes and building things at the university, but I had no idea even what that was. That's how ignorant I was then and how new it all was. Anyway, I ended up working for a banking software company. From there, through life changes and moves, I ended up moving to Atlanta. And very interesting how I connected with this very special group of people. We were in business intelligence, so that's the reporting and analysis kind of stuff. Now, this is 96, again, very early cutting edge stuff. There, I met the group of people that would end up being super important mentors in my business life. I was 27, and lots of funny stories that I could share from that experience. But the main one is that the company was kind of in chaos. It was kind of trying to reinvent itself, and it had bought a couple of businesses to put together. I came in to work for one of the new businesses, but the company in general was just it was just a lot of change. It was a lot of crazy. And so I thought, this is not what I was expecting. I want to get on with my career. I'm going to quietly exit politely. I'd maybe been there 6 months, but it was just a mess and I didn't want all the chaos. I didn't realize then, good point, that chaos creates opportunity. So when there's chaos, you need to buckle it down and tune in because people will flake off and then you can grab opportunity. So what happened to me at this place is that I had done a great job, I guess, because when I called to let the main salesperson know that the customer I had just been at performing training, I wouldn't be able to do their second half because I'd be leaving and I wanted to give him a heads up. I think he walked right over to who was basically the president slash VP of sales at the time, Dave Cormack, who's now the chairman of my board here at Curve. He said, are you kidding me? We're going to lose another good person. And he went into this whole thing of clean up and figure out what's going on. Let's fix it. And literally, I was literally about to get on the elevator to leave. And he says, Miss Macon, could you come talk to me in my office with I wish I could do his Scottish brogue better. But anyway, I mean, that day changed my life. And from there, I just got an opportunity because I had been diligent and I was honest, transparent, respectful. And that day, the money that was available to me nearly doubled because I got, an upside kind of compensation. I started running the team that I was a part of, and my career just advanced from there on. So I went from a technical degree through support, training, implementation, doing all kinds of things like that for about 5 years to having an opportunity to do something I never did before. But a mentor saw something in me that I didn't really see in myself, and he kind of boosted me and gave me a shot. And from there, 25 years later, I'm working with the core of that same team, and we've done 3 businesses together. So the
Wow.
way we got to Curve was we spent about 15 years in home health, hospice, and durable medical equipment and built a SaaS or a cloud platform for that market. We sold that business again after about 14 years, and our investors, Battery Ventures, very, very interested in healthcare software platforms, asked our team because we had such a great and faithful customer base and we built such a great product that we would come and do that again in dentistry. So that's how I ended up in dentistry. And I'm thankful for that healthcare, 14 years of healthcare before entering dentistry. Now I'm 7 years in dentistry. So I think that it's exciting to have a team that knows what they're doing, but also having mentors in your life and other people around you that believe in you and you believe in each other. And that's how you move forward with successful business. So I answered 2 questions. How did I get into dentistry? And what was the path like?
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that there's like that one moment that just like totally propelled you, totally changed your life. And it's just incredible to see what can happen after a moment like that. But the other thing that you did was you decided like I want better, like I want
Yeah.
something that's different. And that also shows value, which I think sometimes, is tough to do. So wow.
Mhm.
One of the things that I know that you are known for and have a proven track record of, which a lot of the women in digital dentistry, like we are constantly learning how to manage our teams, how to build better teams, how to navigate challenges with teams. Tell me a little bit about how you've been able to build effective teams and remove the technical process barriers with inside of the teams.
When you say technical process barriers, are you meaning like where you run up against a wall in terms of building something, or do you mean like the not having the tools you need?
I would say the building something.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay, good.
let me go back. I'm going to ask that question again
Okay.
and not
Yeah.
stop it for you.
Okay.
So you have been known to have a proven track record of building effective teams. And this is something that as women in digital dentistry, they're constantly upskilling themselves to lead their teams better, accomplish things that they otherwise couldn't without an effective team. Tell us how you've been able to have that proven track record of building these really effective teams to achieve your goals.
Honestly, I think it comes from my leadership style, which is very much coaching, problem solving, but very empowering. So I'm definitely not a micromanager, but I expect a lot, right?
Mm,
So I'm going to say, here's the problem we're trying to solve. Let's brainstorm and figure out what we're going to do. Then I want you to go do, and you're going to think of new things and encounter challenges and let me help you remove friction and let's keep it going. But at the foundation of that is something really important. Well, a couple of things. One is everyone needs to be approaching, and this is what I tell people and teach people, approaching problems with curiosity. Too many leaders take the first answer. So someone on my team comes to me and says, well, I talked to so and so and we can't do that. I talked to development and we can't do that. Why can't we do that? It's the first thing out of my mouth. Why can't we do that? Well, they said because blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, let's get everyone together. Let's talk about that because I really want to understand how we're doing that today and why we can't do it this way. Or maybe we can think of a different way. Because for me, getting a no just makes me want to solve the problem more because
yeah.
I know there's an answer. I know there's a way to solve it. It might not be the first idea, but we will solve it. And then that goes to the other thing that's kind of stuck with me through the years that I've learned is kind of this never give up mentality. And I call it, another CEO that I met called it this, a force of will. We were
Mhm.
talking about something we were frustrated about, and I said I was ready to reach through the phone and like shake them, like we are going to do this. And he laughed and he said, "Yeah, it's that force of will. Like you're going to will this thing to happen. You have to be flexible and you have to like stay calm and know you're going to find the answer." But
Mhm.
not giving up just because someone tells you that's impossible. No, it's probably not impossible. Maybe you have to compromise and maybe do it a little bit different, but you can still get to the same goal. So that kind of environment in a team. And then the last thing that I think is super important is facilitating conflict, not
Mm,
reducing conflict, not avoiding conflict, but facilitating conflict. Patrick Lencioni has a great book, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team, and he actually kind of named this in that book. And I read that book. I saw him speak, and I read it like 25 years ago, but this stuck with me because in our society, we don't want to have conflict, especially for women professionally. It can be really risky to go into conflict, particularly in a big group of people. If there's men and women at the, if you're at the top table, it's a tricky situation sometimes. And what you want to do, particularly if you're the top leader, is that you want to facilitate the dissenting opinions or the other, maybe not dissenting, but other views and bring them into the solution. Because what happens when you kind of struggle and wrestle through something is you always get to a better answer. Like my answer might have been really good, and your answer might have been really good. And either way, we could get. But if we just let this other person sandpaper with us a little bit and figure out we're going to get to a better thing in the end. So
mhm.
when people know they can kind of throw their ideas in, they're not going to get ridiculed, they're not going to be rejected from the group or judged in a way that's unprofessional, then we're going to get to a better solution. So that kind of environment allows people that are performers, which are the only kind of people I like to hire, like people that just are get it done people, to take risks, to ask questions, to be curious, to dig, to not take no for an answer. Like that's the kind of thing that I try to create, in the environments where I am.
I can imagine that everyone that's in your energy or in your circle, they are probably so inspired by that curiosity and that will. Like you can feel that when you're around somebody that's like, no, we're gonna figure this out. Like there is an answer. We just have
That's
to
right.
find. And I bet that's so contagious for your entire team.
I hope so. They say that it is, and I hope so. And I think it shows in the results, right? Because as a leader, especially a type A, Allison, you can get so focused on what you know, and you are so sure, very sure of yourself. I can be very sure of myself. I know how to do it, just go do it. But guess what? That doesn't scale. Like
Yeah.
I can only do what I can do. What I need is for my teams to be able to make those environments and create that momentum and move. So that's
Yeah.
that's an important thing.
That's so brilliant. And also, the reality is that the conflict is going to exist whether we like it or not. And it's going to be so much better contained and also so useful if it's done in an environment where it actually brings a result. So,
Right.
what a reframe. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So, from the dental practice perspective, so I am currently working with a practice that's going through a transition to Curb, and they are so excited for it. And something that I've been hearing a lot in the industry, and we've been hearing a lot, is like we have the technology, but we're not implementing it and using it to its full capacity.
That's
So,
right.
what do you see as a for the biggest barrier for practice or dental professionals really taking advantage of the technology that they have?
Yeah, great question. So I think there's a couple things. If I think about the group of people who are saying, I'm on my server, I'm doing what I've been doing for 25 years. So that group, their belief in their mind is it ain't broke, I ain't fixing it, to say it in Southern terms. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And so they're, the more the wet finger dentist, right? They're in there, they're doing dentistry, they got their spring break and their fall break and their winter break and their Christmas break. Like they have a lifestyle that they've worked very hard to create. They have a team, their books are pretty much full, everything's rolling. Why should they make a change? They're afraid of change. What is their team going to say or do? But also we know that like 68% of practices last year say we are absolutely having labor shortages as our number one problem. So if
Mm.
I have labor shortages and I'm always fighting that battle, I'm afraid of what it's going to do to my team. Maybe they'll walk out. Some of them do threaten to walk out. And it's just me doing dentistry. Let's say if I'm the sole proprietor dentist, that's a scary place to be. What they don't understand, and it takes some educating and some encouraging and some coaching for them to understand, by not making these changes to a modern platform, you're trapping yourself in a world that is going to cost you more money. It's going to put your practice at risk because of cybersecurity concerns. It's going to take you more time to do everything. You don't even know it. Like I could save you hundreds of dollars every month by changing systems, but they're really, really stuck in that mindset. So one of our goals is to educate that group. If we're talking about the group that said, yes, let's go to a modern platform, like the people you're talking about, and our customers, thousands of customers, we know statistically in software that people never really use more than 60% of the functionality that's in the software. It's different things, but they just typically don't. Why? Well, we've been working on this at Curve because it just kills me. We spend
Yeah.
$20 million every year on new stuff to make it better, to make the practice run better, to give you more tools, and then people don't implement them. But when we get out and talk to customers, like at trade shows, places like that, we're like, hey, have you seen this? Hey, have you seen that? And sometimes they're like, yeah, I saw it. I haven't had time to do it yet. Because to them, for us, it's a new feature and it's going to help them. To them, it's a project on their list.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, right? So one of the things we've been working on is providing services at a super reasonable rate that people can call us and say, hey, I really want to implement that new thing. Can you guys jump in here and do it for me or help us do
Mhm.
it? Because we want them to be using the software so they get the value for their money. So the reason people don't do it is time. The labor shortages is a big deal. And then on this other side of the equation where people just haven't made the move yet, they're just stuck,
Mhm.
right? But even the people that move, it's almost like the most forward-thinking people that I see in practices that are maybe they have a couple of locations, maybe they're one location, but they really have a business mind and they want to expand. They kind of assign somebody and pay someone half, three-quarters of their time to focus on keeping them up to date on their technology and keeping that stuff moving. And that, I'm telling you, that position pays for itself because of
100.
the efficiencies you get. And also, it's kind of like an audit too, where you
Mhm.
have someone looking, someone checking, someone, and so those little personnel things that can happen, like embezzlement. Nobody likes to talk about it, but everybody knows it's real, more real than we want to say. Having that extra person to kind of be that driver can make some of those things come to light as well. So it's a super investment if people are willing to do it.
It's true. It like really just reminds me of that kind of like slow down to speed up model. Like it does take that time. And as a practice manager, I was 24 years old and I took my office through, it was a 30-year-old practice through a transfer while my doctor was skiing in Switzerland. He's like, "You've got it. You're fine." And it took like a lot of structure and system, but
Yes.
other side of it, we were so much better for it. And like you said, we found holes, we found opportunities, and we grew tremendously the year after we did it. And so, of course, there is stress with change, but when you have the mindset that this is going to pay off in spades on the other side,
Yes,
that's what you have to stay focused on.
that's right.
In today's world, like we are moving at the speed of light with technology, we can't afford to be not leveraging it, not fully utilizing it, not fully implementing it, not fully training our team on it. Like we simply cannot afford not to anymore.
So true.
What would you say have been the key lessons that have shaped your leadership style?
Well, you heard about my mentor. So that was a big, moment in my life where I've reflected on that. Always in my life, I've been a little bit of a leadership geek, my husband and I both, and we love to help people grow in their life and their leadership and their possibilities. And one of the gifts that we've always had is being able to see things in other people that they don't see in themselves, helping
Mhm.
them see it, helping them equip themselves and move ahead. So investing in people, I think, and the fact that someone invested in me and believed in me, that's definitely a lesson that while it was there before, it really stamped it on my heart. Once it happened to me and I saw how that went over years and years and years. And I was able to help other people more because of that opportunity. Also, I think that always helping the people behind you. That's another thing that I think, kind of goes into the same story, but don't, I think when you get to kind of middle of your career, you feel like, oh, okay, I'm out of phase one. Let me focus on getting to the top now. You're not going to get to the top without other people. Like you
Yeah.
want to bring your group with you to the top, and it's a mentality that creates that different kind of environment. So I think that's important. I think as a woman, I would like to share like maybe a really practical thing, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to tell everyone it took me until I was about 35 to learn this. So I'm going to hope I only give it to you and you're going to be younger than that and you're going to learn before I did. So being a type A, being a strong driver and being one to be successful, I had this thing in my mind like everything's got to be perfect. And also a mentor, very hardcore perfectionist. Okay. So we were driving this company hard and it was like nothing less than perfection will do. So that was kind of our culture. So for me as a woman working hard to make everything perfect, if I would get in a board situation or a leadership team situation and someone would, oh, that's wrong on that spreadsheet. Or, oh, you got that wrong. So if that's wrong, the whole thing's wrong. Like it was a pretty intense environment. Or, oh, there's a mistake on that slide or whatever. Or such and such happened at this customer. Why did that happen, Jana? Well, I would respond in a mode of explaining, which comes off as defensive. So I would say, well, here's what happened, and this is what I was doing, and let me just explain blah 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 blah. Okay. And bad form, do not do it. So in a group environment like that, particularly, like think of a board meeting or think of a team meeting. If someone was to challenge you on your idea or on that's wrong in that spreadsheet or whatever, first you need to have enough self-love and self-awareness to say to yourself, I am not perfect. I am a human being. No one expects me to be perfect. So it's not what happens, it's how I respond to what happens. So if someone says to me, well, that's wrong, then I should say, oh, thank you for that. Let me look into that. Let me fix that. Okay, I appreciate that. Let me just circle back. Or if you're having one of these facilitating conflict kind of discussions and people are like challenging, well, I propose this. Well, I disagree with you, Jana. My very best answer, or I don't know, why do you say that, Jana, or whatever. My best answer is, well, I appreciate that question, Allison. Can you help me understand how you're thinking about that?
Mm,
You want to get them to come forward with what's in their mind. Why are
mhm.
they challenging what you're convinced, or you wouldn't make the recommendation, right? So when they're going to challenge you, to take it, breathe and say, okay, great. Well, tell me how you're thinking about that. I want to walk through your thoughts. So again, it goes back to that curiosity, being
Yeah.
curious. Why? But in this sense, you're kind of saying, great feedback. Help me understand. What are you thinking? I might say like, I appreciate that feedback. I hadn't thought of that.
Mm,
That's really a good one. I hadn't thought of that. So let's talk about it, right? So you want to keep the conversation going. It's kind of like that thing in improv where they say yes and,
yeah.
right? And it's the same thing in a meeting. And a lot of times like if you're thinking you're going yes and you want to say but, and you
Yeah.
say, and I think we need to pull this back together and have another conversation, whatever. Even being that deliberate is important. And
Hmm.
and the other thing I would say is as a woman, particularly, and we've come a long ways. You got to remember, I started working 35 years ago, but still to this day, when you come to the table, particularly of mixed company, but even of business, type A business women especially, be prepared, be succinct, leave feelings out of your conversation. Don't say things like, well, I feel blah, blah, blah. And it's a very trendy thing for the last 5, 10 years. We're all saying, I feel. I wouldn't do it. I would say, I think, I
Hmm.
believe, I'm guessing, I suspect, I'm wondering because, right? And you want to have a reason. I'm thinking this because I've noticed that
Yeah.
we're going down in this area. So I'm wondering if this is maybe not happening, right? So
Mhm.
again, leading an intelligent conversation and really learning to be succinct and come prepared. Come prepared with your numbers, come prepared with your case. But don't let anyone goad you, even if you have a bully in the room. Don't let them goad you into, well, you're making me feel a certain way and you're screwing up the vibe in the room and whatever. Like, and I would say the 20s to 30s could be very tempted just
Yeah.
because of the social media environment and kind of the world that has kind of become what it is. Don't let someone pull you into that. Like
Yeah.
be strong, be humble. Know you're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes, own them, and get out there with your suggestion, your recommendation, your comment, whatever it is.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. It reminds me of the quote, like, you can't push buttons on somebody that doesn't have buttons. And so, like, it's up to us to, like, maybe they pushed a button on us, but it's up to us to not have that button and to be able to move that conversation forward. I mean, I'm just curious, have you been trained in conversational intelligence? Because it sounds like you know all of this neuroscience and the psychology around these conversations to make them the most impactful.
30 years of tons and tons of work with tons and tons of people. And I did a fair amount of counseling myself over the years for myself. So that is probably where I picked up a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the leadership books, a lot of that kind of stuff, you pick it up, but I would say you just got a culmination of 25 years.
I love that. Oh my gosh. This is why I was so excited to talk to you today. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. One of the things I'm really passionate about, I know that we don't have a lot of female leaders in tech, which is why, again, I was so excited to talk to you today. Um, and that's really the mission with women in digital dentistry is to empower women's mindsets so that they can leverage the technology and the tools that they have, bring that together. And I feel like we're unstoppable. We have to have the right mindset and we have the right tools and technology. We come together with that and we build incredible businesses and incredible lives.
Yes.
But what do you think is like the way that more women can advance with their leadership role within dentistry or within technology? Like coming to the table prepared, coming to the table, communicating in an effective way. But if, a lot of our listeners are dentists, they are dental coaches, consultants, and technology is a huge conversation right now, especially with AI. How do we continue to grow individually within this industry?
Great question. I think one, you have to convince yourself to not be intellectually lazy. You have got to be a lifetime learner. You just have to be. The other thing for me, and this may just be me, but I think it's a lot of leaders, is I want consultants and people around me as a business person. I want to pay people to be around me that are going to maybe think harder than me, focus on one thing more than me, deliver more than I can deliver. So that is like you have to make yourself better, right? You have to put more value in yourself. The kind of a practical layer of that, I'm always about where the rubber meets the road. A practical layer for that for me is follow up and follow through. Like a lot of consultants and people that I've noticed even in dentistry, they're really good at and they love to think about things. They love to strategize about things and talk about things, plan things, but they're not, a lot of them are not really doers, executors. And that's kind of a trap of consultancy too, because you're not always asked to be the doer in the end. You're kind of asked to make the plan. But that's where I think everything falls down. Like I am an execution, get it done person. And while as the president of the company, I can't have my fingers in actually finishing stuff like I used to. And I actually miss that a little bit. But I'm expecting my team to do that and the people that I bring around me. So there's kind of this idea, think of it like this. If I hired you, Allison, as a consultant, I would be agreeing to a project with you. I would be looking for constant follow-up information, as we go through fact finding, whatever concerns, I would be looking for that. We would come up with what are we going to do? And then I would be looking for you to tell me the bad news fast. I would be looking for you to tell me what's messed up. What are we going to do to fix it? And here's the plan to fix it and who's going to do it. And Jana, this is what I'm going to do, or I'm blocked here. I need to be able to do this. So this is kind of this big ball of transparency, truth telling. And when I mean truth telling, I mean having the courage to tell somebody something is screwed up.
Yeah.
And that's what they're paying you for. And
Mhm.
don't be afraid of that. And I know sometimes in dentistry with the clinicians, sometimes there's a great pride in that they've built this business and they work so hard to build this business and they know they're not really strong business people, but it's hard to kind of tell them what's wrong. And I find in those situations, just bring the facts,
Yeah.
bring the dollar signs, bring the report, bring the information. If you're working with a technology leader like me, I want you to show me that you know this. You're going to update me. You're going to keep me in the loop. We're moving it forward. And my idea is we're getting something done. Like
Yeah.
what I find the most frustrating in my organization, like we were dealing with something today, and I had my CTO on the phone, myself, my VP of customer success, and our director of product, and we're dealing with this kind of important problem. And it's something that if we didn't really say we're all going to focus on this, it could really fall into the back seat for 2, 3, 4 weeks. It's a problem, but it just pops up now and then. I said, guys, listen, I think you guys all agree, but just to say it, we are going to stay focused on this. We are not going to stop. And within 2 weeks, we are going to be done with this. I
Mm.
just moved it to the top of the stack. It's too much variable. It's too much of a headache. We're moving it up there. We're not going to ignore it. But it takes somebody to do that. And as a consultant in a project or a office manager, a leader in a practice, like you got to be willing to kind of put a stake in
Mhm.
the ground, right? No, this is what we're going to do. If you disagree, tell me now and we can rearrange, but this is what we're going to do. And you just, again, that force of will, drive, 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 and then the truth teller thing, Allison, I think is so important. I think one of the things that probably advanced me the most with Dave Cormack, my mentor, and the other executive team members that work around me now that we've worked with for many, many years is that they know I'm not going to hide stuff. I'm not going to try to cover up. Now, early in my career, I did. I was always tempted to give the answer they wanted to hear.
Mhm.
And I learned it is okay to say, I don't know the answer to that right now. Give me 15 minutes and I will come back and tell you the answer. Rather
Mhm.
than guessing or saying almost right answer, I don't want anybody telling me an almost right answer. I want
Mhm.
someone to say, oh, let me go check. I'm gonna come right back. I would much rather that. So I would say like resist the urge to tell the answer someone wants to hear
Mhm.
and embrace being that truth teller. Most people who are at the top of an organization do not have enough truth tellers in their life. If
Mhm.
you're, they are, everyone just kind of, I don't want to say worship, but it's kind of an easy example. They're like, oh, yes, Dr. So and so. Oh, yes, whatever you want. That's kind of the culture that they have. But the person that that leader respects is the person that tells them the truth.
Mhm.
Hey, I want to tell you something is really messed up, and I can give you the facts of what's going on, what I think we should do about it. It's scary sometimes, especially as a woman, especially earlier in your career. But
Mhm.
I heard a talk one time where a guy was talking about having the last 10% of a conversation. Like almost everybody can do 90%, but that last 10% is the hard part. I can
Mhm.
tell you all the stuff that's going on, but maybe I have to tell you, and you're part of the problem. Or
Mhm.
maybe I have to tell you, and this person probably is not going to make it in this redo because there's so many other things going on attached to them. Whatever it is, be a truth teller because that will gain you respect from leaders, even if they disagree with you. Like I might go, that's great input. Let me think about that and let me look at your data and then let's come back and talk about it again. But if someone's willing to have the guts to tell me like something's messed up, you're part of the problem, or this person over here, or this group, or this task, I need to be listening to that.
Yeah. 100%. Wow. Wow. I feel like we've just gone to business school with you. This is so good. I'm like over here like wanting to write notes. This is fantastic.
Oh,
Um, Thank you for sharing this wisdom. And I know like a lot of leaders on this call, like we struggle with that. We want to know the truth, but how do we empower teams to take that risk to give us the truth when it is risky? And what one of my career pivots or big moments, I was a dental assistant and I noticed a lot of problems, which I also saw as opportunities. And I brought
hmm.
a list to my doctor and I said, here are all the things that I'm noticing. The good news is I also thought of 5 solutions for each of them. What are your thoughts? And he's like, do you want to be the office manager?
Perfect. Exactly. That's exactly what you should have done. That's perfect.
Yes. And so I think it's just about like not looking at the problems as well, like these just gigantic things that we can't overcome. Like you said, we look at curiosity, we look at the opportunity within the problems. That's how we can have the courage to talk about them openly and move forward. So, oh, so brilliant. I want to ask you about AI.
Okay.
This is something like when you said like you cannot be lazy with your knowledge. I think that is the quote that we need to throw up on all social media platforms and share it with the world right now because of how important this topic is to learn technology, utilize AI. And I know that Curve has just released an AI feature. So I would love to like hear about that. And then also just what your thoughts are on how AI is going to change the future of dentistry.
Oh my goodness, big question. Okay, so on the curve side, here's what we decided. So interesting, our AI journey has been kind of let's wait and see. Most of us have been around technology forever. Is it really going to get legs? Is it going to be helpful? How can we use it? So we finally came to a place at the end of last year where we said, all right, we've got to put this into everything we're doing. So
Mhm.
while some people will maybe make a product that does a thing that is powered by AI, what we've said is, look, we put $20 million in this product every single year. What we need to do is as we build each new feature, which we're getting to some really exciting ones now, then we need to have AI capabilities built into it, right? So I don't need the AI word to be an AI empowered platform, right? In fact, it's better that it's integrated because that means that it's integrated with the humans to make their life better. Okay. So the first thing we did though is kind of a separate product, but it's to serve the humans. So let me tell you what happened. We said, how could we make it easier for our people who are going through implementation, just going onto the platform, to be able to access information at the drop of a hat? Because they don't really know the right questions to ask, like in curve lingo. Like they could go to our community, but are they going to search the right thing to find the article they need or the video they need or whatever? Yeah, maybe. But we thought, let's take all of our content. Let's take all our training videos. Let's take all our written content. Let's take everything we have. Let's put it into a large language model. Let's build just an Ask Curve AI interface so they can ask any question in natural language. So what we found was once people go live, we have a person that sticks with them for 90 days as they're going live, and they're available all the time. But maybe you don't really want to pick a phone up. Maybe you rather just type right in there, ask Curve AI, and it's going to give you the answer and some little links to other resources where you can go find your answer. So what we found was that and then also our new support techs, we tested it with our new support techs who didn't know Curve at all. Well, what we found was the new support techs came up to speed like 70% faster, just because they kind of had that backup for the answers and they could be confident in the answers. So they still went through training, but they were able to go faster,
Wow.
right? And so we're like, okay, this is a winner. So as of Monday, we turned it on for everybody. And so we'll see. We're going to drive it a lot through support when people call in, say, hey, go click this button and ask the same question and see what answer you get. It's not that we don't want people to call us, we do. But what we know is 70% of our calls are sort of just questions, training kind of questions. And it would be so much more convenient for the office to not need to call because we know the phones are always ringing in the office. So it'd be way easier for them to just be able to natural language, ask a question, and get an answer. And then if they don't get the answer they need, well, then they'll want to call us, and that's great. So our idea was just how can we put more knowledge at the fingertips and leverage AI to see how that goes. So we'll know in a couple more months how extensively it's getting used, but we didn't ask for any money for it. We just included it. And that's not a little thing, but we said, we think it's going to help our business and it's going to help the dental office not need to pick a phone up and call, but able to get everything that they need a lot easier.
That's so
So,
brilliant.
what's a couple things in the product that we think we're going to do? We're kind of firming it up. So this is a little bit breaking news, secret, but it might be a little different than this. But here's what we're looking at: two areas right now. We're looking at giving clinical summaries with AI. So a dentist could say, "Show me everything that happened on tooth whatever," and then it's going to tell them exactly from the treatment plan or
Cool.
exactly from notes or what. So clinical prompts to make it
Yes.
super easy for the dentist just to see what they want really quick. We have all the data. Why not?
Yeah.
So that will be in there. Then we're also building a whole revenue cycle management platform, much more sophisticated than what we have today. But the idea with AI is that within it, we know what the denial codes are. We know what's happening. So the AI can know and train and can move these claims along, make corrections automatically. You've seen a lot of this out in the market, but this is going to be inside of Curve.
Mhm.
Again, leveraging the power of AI inside of our product. So those are just some things that we're looking at. But we've really shifted, kind of pivoted to this AI first development mindset where
Yes.
we're thinking about what can AI do to make this better for the humans inside the software,
Oh,
workflow, automation, things like that.
that's going to be huge. I like need to tell my clients this immediately because they're going to be so excited about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
it's going to be
talking about
great.
AI and training on AI like in the practices. And I think that's going to be such a like intuitive like addition because people are used to now asking ChatGPT or any other large language
Mhm.
questions like they're on the internet. So if they can do that inside the platform, that makes total sense. I wish I had that when I was going through my transition
Yeah,
7
I'm
years
telling
ago.
you, super
Amazing.
easy. And most people that are leading one of those kind of projects are the inquisitive learning
Yes.
types, or they should be. That would be the ideal profile. And so it's just like a circus, for them just to get in there. What all can I find out and learn? And it's so easy. So,
I love that. Okay, so the $1 million question, what do you think AI is going to do to the future of dentistry?
oh, I think there's so much possibility. I mean, you see what the people at Pearl and some of the other imaging, platforms have done. To me, that's so awesome for the patient more than
Mhm.
anything. So they understand what they need. So I think there's that sort of clinical lane. I think there's the automation and making things move faster and easier lane. I think that's kind of more where we are. Also,
Yeah.
there's business advantages I think we're going to see. Like we're working with Mango, who's our deepest integrated phone partner, to leverage, the content of the call for sentiment, for, placing the call summary in the record, of doing things that then it will save the practice time, but also protects the practice in a way. And then also things like what calls are converting to appointments and what aren't? What's the leakage? I mean, that's a black box problem that
Yes.
we are going to be able to solve through AI. So I think there's a lot of really exciting stuff, and it makes me feel even more sorry for the people on this other side. They're like, I'm not changing. I'm staying
Yeah.
where I'm at. Like
No.
it's speeding up,
It,
and it's going to just be like this gap. And here's the thing, we saw some, I don't know if you've seen these surveys, but you might have, where we have people who were surveyed between COVID, at the end of COVID and now, two or three different surveys we've seen. Patients are actively saying they will change providers if the provider does not give them the technological experience that they are now used to. So that
yes.
means self-scheduling. That means two-way texting. That means, I can get a hold of you when I feel like it. I can see my bill. I can pay my bill from my phone. I can authorize my treatment plan from my phone. I can do all of these things in the way that I'm used to functioning. And what's
Mhm.
happening in dentistry, people are sort of still accepting it, but it's getting to be a bigger and bigger divide. Like I don't want to go to a dentist office where I can't deal with them on text, set my own appointment, pay my bill right from my phone. I'm sorry, I don't. I do it everywhere else.
Yeah.
So we got to get these people educated and sort of excited about taking that step.
Yes. And I think it opens up so many possibilities for the people that are in the positions that they chose to be in to do more of what they love. Like when we
Yes,
don't have to be chasing claims, when we don't have to be doing all these like administrative things,
absolutely.
software is helping us. That's how we get to connect with our patients better. That's how we get to do the things that we love to do even better. I see so many benefits to it. And I have a mentor who's his role is to just make big organizations AI ready. And he has been kind of in my ear about this for the last 2 years. Like, you have to focus on it. It is very important. And he said that AI is doubling in strength every 2 months, doubling.
Wow,
And so, like, we have to recognize just like this is not going away, it's changing everything. And the only thing scarier than leaning into it and learning it is not knowing it at all.
that's
So,
right.
I think it's such a cool opportunity, and I love being able to listen to calls like as a consultant or as a business owner, being able to just see how these conversations are going. It's not from a spying or a negative perspective,
No,
a training and
that's
opportunity
right.
perspective. So amazing. Oh my gosh. Jana, thank you. This
Thank you.
is phenomenal. And I want to thank Curve for supporting the women in this community, for believing in this mission of empowering women and implementing innovative technology that's really changing our world and changing the way that we practice. And so you've been incredible in providing so much value to our audience today. And so I just really want to thank you for being that example for so many other women who are leaning into technology for them to see what's possible.
Thank you, Allison. I really appreciate being on it. And this is kind of my passion. Like I love to help people and I love to help people grow. So I'm happy to be on and talk to your group anytime.
Oh my gosh, we will definitely take you up on that offer. And again, your team just spoke so highly. They were like, she is going to be so valuable to be on the podcast, and you absolutely were. And so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Everyone, go and check out Curve. I will be leaving the link below. So please go and take a look at these new features. All of the practices that I've ever helped transition have just been so excited about it. And I think this is the way that we lean into the future of dentistry. So we will see you on another episode of Women in Digital Dentistry. And thank you again, Jana.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Women in Digital Dentistry. We hope you found today's discussion inspiring and full of actionable insights to help you thrive in your practice and beyond. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. And if you know someone who would benefit from these conversations, please share this podcast with them. We would love to hear your thoughts and feedback, so feel free to leave us a review or connect with us on social media. Together, we are building a powerful community of women leading the way in digital dentistry. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep making a difference in the world of dentistry. Thanks for listening.